Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Welcome back to the channel. Just thought I'd play the national anthem of the USA for this monumental card, UFC Freedom 250, Land of the Free, the USA is. We've got a badass card going down here at the White House. The White House, wow. Headline by Tapura and Gaethje, two title fights, Pereira and Garn. Winner gets to get slimed out by Aspinall. We've got O'Malley versus Ariel Helwani, Josh Hockett versus Derek Lewis, Ruffy versus Chandler, Bo Nichols back, and Diego Lopez versus Steve Garcia. Anyway, in this video, I'm going to go through my full card picks. Yeah, let's get into it. First fight of the night, we've got Diego Lopez versus Steve Garcia. And for me, this is one of the few fights on this card, which it is actually pretty competitive and, dare I say, a 50-50 fight. Diego Lopez and Steve Garcia are both blockheads, both push forward with their chin wide in the air, zero defense, swinging wild hooks in the pocket. However, Diego Lopez has superior grappling to Steve Garcia. We've not really seen Steve Garcia grapple much. Kyle Nelson took his back. He doesn't really grapple offensively. Steve Garcia is just purely boxing, pushing forward with a pace, the occasional spinning back kick every now and then. Luckily against Calvin Kattar, but he's predominantly likes to get his work done with the hands, push you up against the cage, body, head, sit you down, get the knockout. Very powerful. Friends of the notorious Kirk as well. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. I'm sure that will add some extra incentive for Steve Garcia here. I'm not taking the piss out of Charlie. I'm being serious. On this card, that'll add some incentive. He's a proud American in the White House. I'm pretty sure he's MAGA affiliated, so he'll want to get it done in front of Trump. He'll be the first guy to walk out. Lots of pressure. However, I think the pressure will be too much for him. The opponent will be too much for him. I think Diego Lopez is too good for him. Superior everywhere, on the feet. And let's be honest, Diego Lopez has beaten everyone he's fought. Arguably beat Avlov in his debut on short notice. He's lost to Volk twice. That is not a bad loss. Volk is the GOAT of the featherweight division. Even at his old age, still schools these young guns. And I do think he beats Avlov. But we don't need to talk about that. I think Diego Lopez will eat the shots of Steve Garcia early. That is usually how Steve Garcia wins. He overwhelms his opponent, knocks him out early. Otherwise, he goes to a pretty boring decision. There's a big cardio question marks on Steve Garcia. He can't push that same aggressive pace for 15 straight minutes. Whereas I believe Lopez can. He's proved it in title fights, main events, and the fights he's been in that he can go hard for as long as the fight lasts. And I do think he gets it done here by TKO. I think he takes down Steve Garcia in the second round, gets some ground and pound on him, takes him out like he did to Jean Silva, the nasty elbows he cut up Jean Silva's head with. And I think he gets it done here by TKO. The first round will be a bit dodgy. I think Steve Garcia will back him up, land some shots. Lopez will take him down. And that is where I think that's where it's different. Lopez has more skills in the bag. He can take Garcia down. I don't really think Garcia can take Lopez down. Lopez is a great jiu-jitsu guy, even off his back. Against Volk, he was defensively sound, one of the better grapplers in the division. Couldn't get much off against Volk, but that's because Volk is so good. Yeah, I'm worried though, because in the pocket, he's very wild. Volk was rocking him all over the place, and Volk isn't known for being a power puncher. I would assume Garcia is more powerful than Volk. However, they're similar heights. Almost Volk is kind of more awkward to fight because Lopez is so much bigger than him. 5'11" v 6 foot. Volk's like 5'7", 5'6". So it'd be easier for Lopez to hit Garcia. He has got some pop in his shots. Knocked out Ortega and woke him back up, and I do think he's competitive on the feet for the first. Both guys have their moments, crazy pace, but I think Lopez in the second takes Garcia down, gets mount, and TKOs him with some ground and pound, 12 to 6 elbows, and gets it done. I'm a big fan of Steve Garcia. I just don't think, to be honest, to beat Steve Garcia, you've got to be a grappler or have a granite chin, and Lopez is both on paper. I would favour Garcia against a Lerone Murphy, guys like that who are just a bit sus on the feet, chin question marks. But I think Lopez has just got a granite chin, better grappling than Steve Garcia. He'll be able to take him down and get a ground pound TKO finish against Steve Garcia. Moving on, we have got Bo Nickel versus Carl Dorcas. Just an amazing middleweight fight that's really worthy of an amazing card like this. Zero privilege for Bo Nickel here. Just a really good middleweight contender on the verge of a title shot, according to Charlson, and that's interesting. But he's got Carl Dorcas here, a tough opponent, a big middleweight, 6'3", nasty KO power, nasty dash chokes. Just submitted GM3. I mean, he nearly beat Jacob Malkoun, so that win may have aged well. And knocked out Michel Pereira. I'm surprised he's not on this card. He's a good asset to the higher powers. But I'm going to go with Bo Nickel here. As much as it's funny to shit on Bo Nickel and clown Bo Nickel, he is not actually that bad anymore. Major improvements made against Rodolfo Vieira. He knows how to strike now. He isn't just going to quit to a knee up against the cage. But also we have to consider in that was Reina de Ridder, an incredible guy himself, nasty knees. But I think he wins by decision here. Carl Dorcas is not a good grappler just because he's got a good dash choke, but a guy like Bo Nickel will be able to defend that. He'll be able to get Carl Dorcas down at will, and I think he wins by decision here. I see Carl Dorcas coming out early. That is his best chance. Backing up Bo Nickel early, landing a nasty hook, counter, like overhand, something like that, backing Nickel up against the cage early. Because for Carl Dorcas, it's a win-win here. If he gets knocked out in 2 seconds, it doesn't matter. He's still going to be in the UFC. They're all here for Bo Nickel to win. So if he goes out, gets slimed out early, or slimes out by Nickel early, win-win. He could get dominated or get an early KO. It's a win-win for Carl Dorcas. But I don't think he's going to do that. Bo Nickel's too defensively sound. He's quite low output at the start. He's actually, but Dorcas is a bigger guy. Rodolfo Vieira, a big guy himself, but Dorcas is bigger. Nickel's got a nice jab. However, against a bigger guy like Dorcas, he may not be able to land that as much. Reach is even. But I do think Bo Nickel will mix in the wrestling, get some takedowns. I mean, Roma Delidze knocked out Carl Dorcas against the cage. Eric Anders took Carl Dorcas down. Very mid guys have been able to out-grapple Dorcas. And I do think Bo Nickel's a better grappler here. Dodgy on the feet. However, Bo Nickel's showing great improvements, knocking out Rodolfo Vieira. Rodolfo Vieira is not that good. But I think he gets it done by decision. Just popping him with the jab and the straight. He's very defensively sound, very boring on the feet, very boring in general. I don't know why he's on this card. Nobody cares about Bo Nickel, let's be honest. It's not like he's going out there submitting everyone in 10 seconds, knocking them out like Chimaev was on the come up. He was the American Chimaev, apparently. But I think he's too good to lose to Carl Dorcas, and it's going to take a good striker with solid takedown defense. And to be fair, this is a better stylistic matchup. He's fought Paul Craig, Vieira before that, Reina de Ridder, but them guys are grapplers. Dorcas isn't really a grappler. I know he's got some dash chokes, but who is he dashed by GM, the ghost of GM3, Jamie Pickett, back in like 2022, and some bums on the regional scene. No one really that good. But Dorcas is a decent striker, could knock Bo Nickel out, but I think he's going to teep, not teep, he's not Strickland, he's just going to jab his head off, take him down, and win a boring decision here. Maybe, he could get a submission. Bo Nickel's either going to win a boring decision and get knocked out early or submit Carl Dorcas, and I think it's more likely that Nickel gets a submission or a decision win here against Carl Dorcas than Dorcas knocks him out. Dorcas is okay. However, he knocked out Mikel Pereira because he threw some wild shit early. Bo Nickel's a slow starter, very calm and composed. He's not really going to go out there throwing wild. I mean, he might do. It's on the White House card. You might want to go out there and impress the president. Hello, Trump. I did it for you, Donald. Can we play golf again? Some gay shit like that. But I think he'll fight smart. Trains at a great team, ATT, American Top Team, one of the best gyms, great training partners. He would have made improvements since his last fight. I think he gets it done by decision or submission here against Carl Dorcas. He just has to worry about the early onslaught from Carl Dorcas, as he does hit quite hard. Moving on to Maurizio Ruffi versus Michael Chandler. Oh dear, Michael Chandler. I'm going with Maurizio Ruffi to knock out Michael Chandler in the second round. Well, if you're picking Michael Chandler, I'm assuming that the reasoning for that is he's going to submit Ruffi, or he could knock him out. He's got some wild striking, drop Gaethje, competitive with Poirier, guys like that. But that's not Michael Chandler nowadays. The nowadays Michael Chandler gets mauled by Oliveira, TKO'd by Paddy Pimblett, and I think he gets knocked out by Maurizio Ruffi. He's only getting older. He's only getting worse. He's at a height advantage, a reach advantage, a striking disadvantage here against Maurizio Ruffi. Yeah, I can understand that maybe that Chandler can submit Ruffi. He's got good wrestling, but he's not got there's not really good jiu-jitsu. He's good at getting you there. He can't really hold guys there, submit them. I don't think he submits Ruffi. The only way I see someone beating Maurizio Ruffi in this division, unless you're like an Ilia Topuria or Max Holloway, someone like that, is by taking him down, mauling him like BSD did. Ruffi's an incredible striker, great counter striker, great offensive striker. And Benji MMA believes he could beat Ilia Topuria. I don't know about that far, but I sure think he gets in towards the title picture within the coming years. He's going to knock out Michael Chandler on the White House lawn. Another highlight reel. It's not going to be no spinning back kick, but he's going to piece up Michael Chandler. First round, Chandler will probably push him up against the cage, take him down. Ruffi will probably get back up to the feet. Then round two is where he'll knock him out. Ruffi's an incredible counter striker. I can see him. Chandler throwing a fucking wild overhand. Ruffi leaning back, check hook, sits him down, ground and pound. And Chandler goes out on the White House lawn in front of his home country. And I think he should retire after this loss if he wins. Fucking hell. Then, yeah, Mauricio Rufy, you're not as good as we thought he was, but I don't think he wins. I think Mauricio Rufy knocks him out relatively easy. He could even hurt him with the low kicks early. Rufy's usually a slow starter. He likes to stay on the back foot. And to be honest, I think this is a step down in competition from Fiziev. I think Fiziev would beat Michael Chandler. Fiziev's a better striker than Chandler. Chandler's more aggressive and wild. Maybe could catch him against the cage if Rufy fights the same way as he did against Fiziev on the back foot. Fiziev is usually Rufy's usually low output, but when he throws with all his power. Very powerful. Look what he did to Fiziev, and I can see him doing the same to Michael Chandler here. I think he knocks him out in the second round. I'm going with Michael Chandler to lose in America at the White House. Next fight, we have got Josh Hockett versus Derek Lewis, and I'm a bit concerned for Josh Hockett. I'm going with Josh Hockett to knock out Derek Lewis in the first round. However, the way he approaches this fight will be quite interesting. Will he just brawl with Lewis? That's risky because Derek Lewis is shit, but he's still good enough to knock you out in the pocket. He's still got that power. It's just his technique, his durability, his speed is completely gone. 41 years of age. He's just a big guy that roams around, trudges at you, swinging wild hooks and that shit jump kick he has. But I'm going to go with Josh Hockett. I think he's too fast. Obviously, he's got the speed advantage over every heavyweight. Maybe not the top guys, but guys like Derek Lewis and Curtis Blades, he's faster than. However, I'm worried. This is not long after UFC 227. That was 2-3 months ago. In there, Derek Lewis. I rewatched the Josh Hockett versus Curtis Blades fight, and it wasn't actually that impressive as watching it live. Blades was tagging him up, but Blades and Derek Lewis are very different. Blades is more offensive, higher output, whereas Derek Lewis only pushes forward for that knockout blow. He's not the type of guy to volume strike like a Josh Hockett, like a Max Holloway, for example. No, it's completely different, Holloway and Derek Lewis. But I think Hockett gets it done early. He's going to go out there with pace, throwing those wild overhands. And if Derek Lewis can catch him with a counter hook, then I do believe he would knock Josh Hockett out. But I don't think he'll do that. I think Hockett has a chin on him, but will the durability be reduced, as you know, pretty quick after the Curtis Blades fight? But I believe in him. For me, he needs to stay at range and replicate that Wilder performance. Look to take Derek Lewis down. He's got collegiate wrestling, like wrestling with Bo Nickel and stuff like that. Pop the low kick at range, but Josh Hockett isn't like that, so that's why I'm worried. The Wilder was the perfect game plan. Stay at range, counter his kicks, to trip him over so he's laying flat on his back. Then look to down some ground and pound. Derek Lewis is absolutely awful off his back. Although he did survive 5 rounds against Jailton Almeida. How shit is Almeida? But I think Josh Hockett gets it done against Derek Lewis. I mean, it all depends. If he goes out there taunting like all that, engaging in the pocket like a madman, he may lose. But I don't rate Derek Lewis. But Derek Lewis may try, not try. Of course he's going to try. May like actually lock in here. It's in the White House. He likes Donald Trump. Donald Trump likes him. A monumental fight card. There's going to be bad blood. He already hates Josh Hockett. That may add some incentive, but that could also make him open up more and swing wild. Josh Hockett could take him down or counter him. Josh Hockett's going to have a major speed advantage here, and I think he beats Derek Lewis by knockout in the first or second round. There's no way it goes to a decision. One of these guys are going to get knocked out, and I do believe Josh Hockett knocks Derek Lewis out. I think he's washed, 41, fat, old, slow, and isn't the same guy anymore. Also, he's quite chinny, even in his prime. Derek Lewis, Taito Ivasa knocking him out, Cyril Gahn. We'll get to that bomb in a minute. But yeah, I'm going with Josh Hockett to knock out Derek Lewis at the White House lawn. Although this is as far as completely unrelated. This is as far as I think Josh Hockett goes. I think if he falls out of Pavlovich or Volkov, even Pereira, Gahn, anyone like that, Aspinall, I think he loses. This is his peak. He's like a top 5 heavyweight at the peak, and I think that is what he'll achieve by beating Derek Lewis. This is a step down in competition. I think he knocks out Derek Lewis and goes no further in this division, though. Who knows? He's a unique guy, but for this fight, he's going to knock out Derek Lewis at the White House lawn. On to the feature fight where we have Sugar Sean O'Malley versus Ayman Zahabi, Ariel Helwani's brother. I'm going with Sean O'Malley to knock out Ayman Zahabi in the first round. I don't rate Ayman Zahabi, and I especially don't rate Ayman Zahabi in that first round. Every single fight, he's very slow in the first round, well, as of late anyway. Jose Aldo, slow in the first round. Chito Vera, slow in the first round. However, he's crafty, He has got a way of deceiving the judges to give him rounds. He'll stay at range, there won't be much action. And in like the last minute, he'll crash in up against the cage, throw some. He's kind of like Sean Strickland a bit, the way he throws, like these aggressive hooks up against the cage, make it look like he's done a lot more than he has. Got some nice low kicks, some inside low kicks are good. That could work against O'Malley, but I think O'Malley is the best kickboxer in this division. Too long, too rangy. and he's going to sting Zahabi at range. Low kicks, body kicks, stab him with the teeps, head kicks, the straight down the middle. And I think he knocks him out in the first round, snipes him with a straight right down the middle. Replica of what Chito Vera did to him in the second round. And their fight, yeah, Ayman Zahabi's making it far too close with guys that, if you're going to be a champ, a top contender, you're going to have to beat them pretty easily. Just look at what O'Malley did to Vera. O'Malley would absolutely destroy Jose Aldo in his current state. Zahabi's scraping by, arguably losing both of those fights. And I think he's met his match here. And I think Sean O'Malley is going to knock him out. And for people saying that Ayman Zahabi may submit him, take him down, Ayman Zahabi doesn't take guys down. He doesn't shoot takedowns against the Pedro Munoz and guys like that. He was defending takedowns, didn't shoot any against Aldo. No, he loves to hold you against the cage. He doesn't really shoot takedowns against Vera. He didn't shoot any. And he's been getting pieced up by guys a lot worse than O'Malley. I'm worried though, if O'Malley doesn't take this seriously and sees it as a free win, and he's more worried about fighting Piotr Jan, Merab, etc., then Zahabi I want to say fluke him, could beat him. But he's got a great coach. His brother Fares Zahabi, obviously GSP's coach, etc. Very high fight IQ. However, you can have all the fight IQ in the world. If you can't execute it, then it's useless. I'm going with O'Malley to knock out Zahabi. For me, to beat O'Malley, you've got to be an incredible striker like a Piotr Jan, Sandhagen, even a good striker, just as good as O'Malley. You know, he's got the reach and the range over every guy in this division because he's so big. Or you've got to be a physical grappling threat like a Merab, even Umar, Piotr Jan as well. But for me, I think he's the nightmare matchup for anyone in this division, unless you're Merab. The only way you're going to beat O'Malley in this division is by taking him down. He's the best kickboxer in the division. A great performance last time against Song Yadong. Oh, I forgot the knees up the middle when Zahabi's crashing in. They get a knee up the middle like he did against Chito Vera. I don't really know. Zahabi's got a good chin, I'll give him that. But at the worst, he'll survive a decision here. I don't see how he beats O'Malley on the feet, and his grappling's not high enough level to take him down. Song Yadong couldn't get O'Malley down. The only guy we've seen get O'Malley down and hold him there for a good time is Merab. I know he's not really fought many grapplers. And for me, this should have been Henry Cejudo. Fucking hell. Corey Sandhagen, and we should have had Ayman versus Song Yadong, someone like weird like that. Yeah. I'm going to go over O'Malley to knock out Ayman Zahabi, straight right down the middle as Zahabi throws a weak hook, bit of ground and pound to finish it off. And O'Malley gets a knockout highlight reel win at the White House and earns his title fight against the winner of Merab and Yan. Moving on to the co-main event and the first title fight on the card, we have Alex Pereira versus Cyril Gane for the interim belt in the heavyweight division. This is a good fight. Two very good strikers. Gane wants to stay at range, pop the low kicks, teeps to the body, outpoint Pereira, whereas Pereira's coming out there to knock Gane out. I'm going with Alex Pereira to knock Gane out. Cyril Gane's going to stay at range like he did against Aspinall. Looked very good against Aspinall. Everyone thought, I thought as well. I'm not saying I'm a genius, that Aspinall would just go out there and knock him out in the first round. But respect to Cyril Gane, as much of a cheating cunt and a knobhead he is, he's a good striker, good defensive striker, stays at range well, moves about a lot. I just can't wait for Joe Rogan to say, how does that guy make 185? And how is this guy heavyweight? He's going to be glazing Gane for moving about. He's going to be glazing Pereira for being so big and how he made 185. Boring, no one cares. But I do think Pereira knocks him out. I think Gane will start well, just staying at range, popping Pereira with a jab. Pereira takes time to bed into fights. Well, not against Ankalaev, but usually. It'll be like the Adesanya fight, where Adesanya's going to piece him up. Gane's going to piece him up. Adesanya pieced him up the first one, not the second one. And Pereira will have a rally late, figure him out, get the reads, get the distance. Now Gane's going to have a reach advantage. They're similar heights. They're going to be like the same. But Gane is more built. He's more muscly. This sounds gay. He's a natural heavyweight, whereas Pereira he's kind of fat at the moment. He's going to be like 240, 250, a bit of belly fat, where Gane's going to be like that there. I'm not glating. This is just getting gay anyway. Yeah. Pereira's going to have to use the calf kicks to stop the movement of Gane, make him more flat on the feet. And he has to back him up against the cage, pressure him back, land to the body, land to the head. He's got incredible power. It will translate to heavyweight as he's knocking out these light heavyweights. It's not like he's got pillow hands. And I think he finds the shot on Gane. I think Gane's going to stay at range, jab, teep. Teep? Isn't really teep. Do not be surprised if there's an eye poke. You know, Cyril Gane's the cleanest fight I've ever seen in the UFC, so I wouldn't believe Cyril Gane to cheat or foul anyone. Yeah. I'm going with Alex Pereira to knock him out. I do believe Gane will shoot on him, but Pereira will defend it. Pereira's got some underrated grappling. Ankalaev couldn't get him down. The only guy that's really got him down is Yuri, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Jamal Hill didn't shoot. Roundtree didn't shoot. I mean, Adesanya got him down, but Pereira's made leaps and bounds in his grappling department. That's all he's been training, really. Heavily in his training camps, he's an elite striker, kickboxing background. However, the training partner's got in. Is it Vatakov, the guy that beat Pereira? But if you're studying tape of Pereira in your kickboxing days, then that's fucking stupid because that isn't the same guy. So I hope that's what Garn's been doing. As much as I hate Cyril Garn, I don't want to see him win just because I don't want to see him be happy in his life ever again after what he did to Tom Aspinall and all his other opponents. As glorious as it would be to see Aspinall knock him out in a rematch, just Pereira do the job and then Aspinall beats Pereira. I'm going with Pereira to knock out Cyril Garn. I'm worried though, as Garn is an elusive striker, he could very well just jab Pereira's head off for 5 rounds at range. However, I think the low kicks of Pereira will limit the movement and he'll back him up and TKO him just like he did to Khalil Roundtree, body head. I think he'll cut him open with some jabs, some cuts on his face, and he'll find the shot to knock out Cyril Garn and become the first ever 3-weight champ. Is it really though? Aspinall's got the real belt, but I think he gets it done and knocks out Cyril Garn and earns his fight with Tom Aspinall, which he'll lose. On to the main event, Ilia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje, and I'm going with, no surprise, Ilia Topuria to knock out Justin Gaethje. There is literally nothing Justin Gaethje can do to Ilia Topuria here. This sounds like glaze, but it's true. With Chimaev versus Strickland, and I always bring this up, there was a reason for picking Strickland. There is no reason to pick Gaethje. Gaethje is not a better striker than Ilia, not a better grappler than Ilia. The only way Gaethje's going to win here is if he flukes Ilia. He's not going to piece him up for 5 rounds. We've seen Max Holloway fight Ilia, who is better than Gaethje, try and do that. Ilia cut off the cage and knocked him out in the 3rd round. Gaethje could have a round or 2 of success against Ilia using his physicality early, but I think the power is too much. The second the second Ilia lands clearly on that chin, it's going to rock Gaethje badly. He's only getting older. The guy is ridden with CTE and the chin's digressing. Paddy Pimblett won a round against him, outpiecing him with a basic jab and low kick. Ilia's going to back him up, body head, knock him out. Left hook, right hook, doesn't matter. Whatever he lands on Gaethje. Gaethje has a bad tendency, I noticed in the Pimblett fight, to lean down. Ilia could uppercut, knee, anything like that. What am I doing with my hands? Shut up. But confidence is a hell of a drug, and Ilia is the most confident guy ever. Call it confident, call it arrogant, call it whatever you want. It works for Topuria. And for me, he's on the verge of GOAT status of the sport. He needs a Makachev win, an Arman win, or just a massive reign at lightweight, and he's for sure up there in that GOAT list. I think he beats Gaethje pretty easily. Round 1, round 2. Gaethje could fluke him with the high kick. The Jai Herbert. People go Jai Herbert knocked Ilia down. Gaethje's got good high kicks, but does he though? Who's Gaethje hit with a high kick other than Poirier? That was a fluke. He's going to have another fluke to beat Ilia. If Ilia's emotional, we've seen the beef that could have an impact. Ilia could come out extra aggressive, forget the technicality of his game. Gaethje could catch him coming in. He's the bigger guy, but size and skill, I'd rather be the more skillful guy than the bigger guy. Ilia could take Gaethje down here if he wanted and submit him. Ilia out-grappled Oliveira. Oliveira submitted Gaethje. If you do the MMA math, I know it doesn't work like that, but yeah. Ilia's on the path to GOAT status, beating these guys. Gaethje's his last run, had the gifted title fight against Pimblett. It should have been Arman versus Pimblett, Arman versus Gaethje. Arman should have been involved, but he's got the interim belt, and it's only fair that he fights Topuria. Can't discredit the matchup, but you can pick Ilia up pretty convincingly. And Justin Gaethje, this is the Americans' chance. Why have they not saved this for Strickland Chimaev? They say it's not political. I'm not going to go fully political. They say it's not political, but they ban Chinese guys, they ban Muslim guys from fighting on this card. I think Eamon Harvey's Muslim, but he's Canadian. It's different. Yeah. Weird from the UFC, banning Strickland, the only middleweight champ, he doesn't count. That's a man. Obviously, Kayla Harrison's cornwall, but, she's part of that team, Ali Abdelaziz and all that. She's on their side anyway, so she's not going to get banned. But, it's going to be sad. Honestly, I believe Ilia's going to knock out Gaethje. Round 1, round 2, catching him in the pocket, left hook, sits Gaethje down, ground and pound. His power's too much, doesn't matter how tall you are. Second, he lands on the chin. He's got a solid chin and all that elbow Oliveira hit him with, just edit and keep coming forward. He's got a grappling advantage. I don't see how Gaethje wins this fight. So yeah, I'm going with Ilia by KO, Pereira by KO, O'Malley by KO, Hockett by KO, Rufi by KO, Nickel by decision, Lopez by KO. I don't think that'll all happen. I've never swept a card in my life. But for me, this card's pretty easy to predict. The only ones that are Questionable is Pereira gone. Hockett Lewis, if Lewis catches him coming in. Chandler could submit Ruffy, but who knows? Dorcas is 50-50 really, same as this. But for me, Ilya and O'Malley are locks on this card. Yeah. What do you guys think? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? And we're all ready for the Freedom card at 4 a.m. Monday morning in the UK. We love the UFC. Thank you so much. Yeah. Drop a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And goodbye.